Hey everyone, Off the Mic Sports Network here. More reaction here on Off the Top Rope to the Women's Intercontinental Championship match between Becky Lynch and Lyra Valkyria. So we always like to talk about the four horsewomen and, who is elevating the women's division. Okay. We like to talk about it. And I've kind of been a little bit harsh on Charlotte Flair, but, Charlotte did good business and, put over Tiffany Stratton at WrestleMania. Becky Lynch has now put over Lyra Valkyria. The feud's not over, but as I talked about on another video, I think Lyra in the last 3 weeks, a lot of it has to do with Becky Lynch, but also Becky has kind of unlocked some stuff in Lyra and their chemistry. And then obviously, we've gotten to see a side of Lyra that we never saw before, which is great. But then you juxtapose it and you put it and you compare and contrast it side by side with what's going on in AEW right now with Mercedes Mone and somebody who we thought was getting wronged and was being getting the short end of the stick when she was Sasha Banks in WWE. Because let's be real, in terms of in-ring ability, Sasha Banks, Mercedes Mone, Mercedes Varnado, whatever you want to call her, is as good as there is in the history of the women's division. That's a fact right there. Okay, character-wise, we can debate about it. But one thing we need to talk about here, specifically what's happened in the last year in AEW, and you guys know I've been very, very critical of Mercedes Mone. But there's been this narrative going around with Becky Lynch. Some people call her Becky Hogan. And then obviously Mercedes Mone, people are calling her Mercedes Hogan. The Becky Lynch narrative needs to die because Becky has gone down to NXT. She's actually had matches consistently. She had matches with Tiffany Stratton. She asked to work with, Indy Hartwell and, Tegan Knox and just having a bunch of people. And then she ultimately puts over Lyra Valkyria, her own countrywoman. And Lyra Valkyria has now beaten her twice in singles matches, which is insane. Clean as a sheet. Yeah, there were roll-up finishes, but who cares? Who cares? And and whatever comes out of this story with Lyra and Becky, Lyra's going to be better off for it. The hell has Mercedes Mone done? She's done nothing. First match in, Willow Nightingale wins the championship and Mercedes just beats her. Chris Statlander can't beat her. All these women coming into AEW, like Billy Starks, what did that accomplish? Athena beat her. And now we're heading towards a situation where if she beats Jamie Hayter, she's going to wrestle Toni Storm for the Women's World Championship as the TBS champion. How does that help anybody? And everybody wants to get mad at Becky Lynch because she shoehorned her way into the match at WrestleMania to start this story. Would I have done it a little bit differently than having them win the championships and lose it the next night? Yes, I would have done it differently. But look at what has happened in the last 3 weeks. They've actually built a story and they've actually created a narrative and they have elevated a younger talent. Give me one time that's actually happened with Mercedes Mone and AEW. Give me one time. You can say Willow, but she just beat her. She just beat her in a great match, but you pretty much undercut and undermined Willow for winning the championship a month prior. That didn't do anything. And now you're going through this tournament that she doesn't need to be in while she is already a champion. And, it doesn't do anything. And then some people will tell me, oh, yeah, she lost at, Resurgence, the New Japan show. Guys, you realize that New Japan is probably in the process. And I have no there's rumors going all over the place that New Japan might be starting to go into business with WWE. So maybe New Japan took the title off of Mercedes because she's an AEW talent. You ever think of that? And she also didn't get pinned, by the way. It was a triple threat match. AZM, I think, was the one who pinned Mina Shirakawa. And that's how that match went. So I'm not going to hear it. Mercedes is not elevating people. And I get it. She's getting paid a lot of money. She's got a lot of pent-up frustration for how she was being treated over there. But one thing she made a point of emphasis of why she went to AEW was to elevate talent and was to grow the women's division. There is not really very many examples of what she has done. She has beaten everybody there. She is holding on to almost every world championship under the sun. She may be holding on to the AEW Women's Championship by the end of All In. That is, of course, if she beats Jamie Hayter at Double or Nothing. But if we're going to talk about and have this whole narrative about Becky Hogan, we need to have a conversation about, Mercedes Mone. because they're two of the four horsewomen. But you can't say that Becky Lynch has not helped the women's division. Mercedes Mone may have helped it, but she hasn't done it in AEW since she went there. That's for damn sure. So just think about that, because like I said, I was thinking about that off the tail end of this match. I was like, man, Lyra Valkyria feels like an infinitely bigger deal. And a lot of it has to do with Becky Lynch and what Becky Lynch has been able to do in a short amount of time with the build to this feud. And then obviously the match that they had, the great match that they had at Backlash. So we'll see. Maybe Mercedes, kind of sees this and maybe changes her mind and basically says, yeah, you know what? Let's have Jamie win. And I'll go face Athena at Texas. And then maybe I could start changing my opinion about how I feel. Because I really think that this woman is great, but she has not been very giving since she went to AEW. And I don't know why for the life of me. It's not because she needs to be great, but if you're really giving, you would take some losses. You don't need to lose all the time, but it's not the end of the world. Look at what Becky, literally, that's her first singles match back. She lost. She got her heat back, but hey, she lost. It's fine. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. I will see you guys soon. Bye-bye.